Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question: what makes people say, why not? So, little solo episode today and focusing on keeping ourselves moving, keeping ourselves active during winter to keep ourselves warm and not freezing and cranky. So I hope you enjoy. Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So the winter is really starting to hit, or I feel like it is. Maybe I'm just being dramatic because it feels really cold this week, but definitely noticed the difference the last couple of days. I'm a lot colder, there's more of a nip in the air, and the reason I'm talking about that is because it can be really hard to stay active during the winter because it's cold, it's dark, it's often raining, at least during the summer when the rain's warm, so it's cold rain now. We've had 3 storms already and they're going to come thick and fast, and I suppose it can make things like you'd normally do, like going for walks or getting out for runs or, horse riding or whatever, playing sports a lot harder because simply it's minging and you don't want to. I know I'm like that. I don't like going out in the cold. It can be hard to motivate yourself to get out and go out in the dark. So because of that, I wanted to do this episode on how ways we can stay active during the winter. And this isn't all about, like, as usual with my stuff, it's not about weight loss or staying skinny, but like, we know ourselves that when you're more active you feel better because it release endorphins. Obviously, if you're sitting down all day, you're going to get stiffer, so it will help us feel more mobile, feel better about ourselves. Also, there's a social element to getting active and going out, and seeing friends and stuff a lot of the time. So that's why it's really important. And if you are like me and don't like going out in the rain, you probably need a few little tips and tricks on how to stay active during the winter that doesn't just involve put on a heavier jacket. Because I know some people can do that and other people you just don't want to. So first one is kind of a cheat one, I guess, is indoor workouts. So obviously you can go to a gym, you can go to a class like that in a gym, or go train yourself, or even train at home. I know a lot of people don't like doing that, but if you want to make some time for yourself, it's very important that you do get some time to train on your own, or move, or do whatever kind of exercise you enjoy, really. But one thing I find is really good, especially this time of year when you don't really want to be out, is if you have a way of, first off, never sit down. If you're going to train before work, obviously it's a bit of a nightmare to get up if it's cold and stuff. But if you're an after work kind of person who exercises, make sure you don't sit down. So either have your gym bag in your car with you because it's there ready to go, or beeline straight upstairs, get changed and out the door again before you have a chance to think about it, if it's case you have to commute home. And I find that really helpful, especially when I'm trying to do anything. It's like literally go from one thing to the other, because when you sit down, suddenly an hour gone, something's later, and at that point you're like, well, it's too late in the day, so I'm not going to do it. And just a little tip for that one. Now as well, when I say gym classes, I've said this before, or indoor classes, this could be dance, this could be yoga, this could be Pilates, it could be anything, but anything that gets you moving. You'll find a lot of yoga class in particular, they'll have the room nice and heated and calm and lovely. Dance class, it's going to be very hard for you not to get warm during it. Gym classes are always normally done quite quickly, but something you'll enjoy, something you have a laugh at. Maybe you've been thinking about doing something like this for a long time, and when your mates are discussing it and you're like, oh yeah, you normally go out for a walk but you don't really want to because it's dark. Well, here's your opportunity now. Go join that dance class have a laugh. Yeah, you're going to look like an idiot, you're going to get steps wrong, but that's part of the fun of it, isn't it? So I think that's a really, really good idea, especially this time of the year, as I said, because you're indoor, it keeps you warm, and you get to have a fun and a bit of a laugh while you're doing it, as opposed to feeling like it's a struggle and pain in the hole. And the other thing as well is if you join like a term of classes for something, you're kind of committed then. So if you say you're going to do till December, you know, these 2 nights a week, these are my days, I go to my class. And it's just good to have that accountability, because it's a lot easier to decide to sit down and not go to the gym when you don't have to. Whereas if you have yourself committed to something like that, you've paid for a class, you've paid for a term of classes, it'll make you more likely to get up and go. And once you have fun as well, like there are days where you won't feel well or you won't feel up to it, and a lot of the time the hardest part is getting there. And once you're there, you're like, I don't know what I was worried about, or not even what I was worried about, I don't know why I didn't want to go. So I just think it's really, really good idea. Perfect time now, you know, get the Christmas terms in, get going, 6 weeks, then you can even have another one in January, and before you know it, you'll be a pro at whatever you want to join. Now, dancing classes may not be your thing, but there are so many different indoor sports you can play as well. And it could be a sport you played when you were younger and you enjoyed, or it could be something new that you feel like taking up. I decided recently to take up tag rugby, which is unfortunately still outdoors, but I'm learning, I'm getting to new people. I'm terrible at it, absolutely terrible at it, but it's really, really fun, and it kind of gets you out socialised as well. So, you know, it doesn't have, as I said, like the outdoor sports are harder to join this time of the year because they're cold and often raining, but there's so many, like basketball, there's badminton, does pickleball have an indoor? It probably does. You know, there's indoor tennis, there's whatever other many different indoor sports you can play, like hockey can be played inside, squash. There's so many different ones that you can go and try, and maybe join a club. Again, it's a great way to socialise, gets you moving, have a bit of fun, have a laugh. Like, you could be terrible at it. If you and one of your friends go and join, you could do that. Like I said, I'm absolutely terrible at the tag rugby. I am currently still mastering the art of catching the ball. So don't worry about that. That's all part of learning how to do it. And again, like that, if you join a team, you kind of have a set day that you do something. You go to training or you play matches, and there's lots of kind of social leagues in different sports as well. So it doesn't have to be like a highly competitive thing. You can join something that's a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more just for the social, for the enjoyment, and it's really good and really fun, especially if you are kind of in your late 20s, early 30s. It can be hard to go out and meet people. Well, if you join a sport like that you enjoy and they enjoy, you already have something in common to talk about. So it's a great thing to do, and I think it's a under thought of kind of a way of keeping active. People don't think of that one because maybe they think they're too old to play a sport, or maybe they're just like, oh, it's nervous, I won't be very good. But no one's good when they start, so remember that. And that's in all walks of life. So as I said, just be able to laugh at yourself, get on with it, enjoy it, and it's a great way to keep active, as I said. Also, another two of the sports that I actually nearly forgot about include like martial arts. Have you ever wanted to try that? Learn something, a different martial art? There's so many different them, and they are all indoors as well. And there's adults classes, and it's not all just kids classes now. It's something a lot of people are taking up. So another one we're thinking about, and swimming as well. So the water is generally warm, but when I say swimming, obviously I don't mean sea swimming, I mean indoor swimming. And again, another way to keep yourself a little bit active. If you have kids, you can even bring them for a splash about, and it's not even a case of you have to be doing a mad length to the pool. Like, as I said, bring your kids, they can have a splash about, you can have a splash about, and again, that is keeping you moving again. I think it's really, really good, and a really good way to, again, increase your movement. And it's all about that movement and feeling good about yourself. It's not about weight loss, as I said before. And so another thing is, you know, if it is a case of you want to get outside, but you want to like keep yourself motivated to do it, a great thing to do is sign up for like a charity event. So like a walk or a run or something. And there's plenty of them over the course of the winter. It doesn't have to be a big, massive undertaking, but knowing the fact that you have something booked at a certain time means that you will be like, oh, I can't not go for that walk today. Like, it'll give you that, like, get up and go to put on that jacket and go, because you have this. And again, it's one of those things that hold you accountable. If you say you're going to do a charity event and then you are looking for sponsorship, you feel kind of obliged to do it. Not that you don't want to do it for the charity, but it's sometimes those little things that trick us into doing it. You're like, okay, right, I said I'd do this. And it doesn't have to be a run, it could be a walk. So I think it's very important, not very important, but it's a good one. Again, another one of those ways of holding yourself accountable and making you go do these things, and on those few days that are really, really nice, well, it'll be cold, but it's always nice to go out for hikes or nature walks. I think that's something that goes on all year round. You just have to be a little bit more careful during the winter. Obviously, with some areas, they get dense fog or it can be slippy. So just be careful about that. But if it is something you enjoy on the days that it's bright, like today's bright, but it's cold, even you don't even have to put on that many layers, because by the time you get walking, you'll be pretty warm pretty quickly. So I think it's a good little one. It's an all year round one, but just if you are doing it, just be a little bit more mindful, a little bit more careful, and obviously you'll feel all the better for it. And here's one that's a bit of a curveball that people may not have thought of, but anyone who's done anything like that is knows how hard it is. But like, have you any home improvement projects you want to get done? Well, now is a great time to do it, because you don't want to be outside. Obviously, we're not talking about outdoor projects, we're talking indoor projects. If you've any painting to do, or if you wanted to put up some new shelves, or I don't know, other stuff like that. Maybe you have to take some pictures down or change some pictures. This is a good time to do it, because, as I said, like, a lot of these things actually do end up being quite physical, but you will feel like you'll get the movement done. You'll feel like an achievement as well. So it's not just I have gotten my exercise for the day, or I've gotten my movement for the day. You'd be like, I finally got that job done. So have a look around your house or your apartment, and then just make a list of the things you want to do with it, and from there start cracking on them. Like, this week I'm going to do this week I'm going to do this. And again, if you write a list and write when you want it done by, now be realistic. It's like with everything, don't say you're going to have 2 rooms painted. Well, you probably could, but what I'm saying is, think about the time you have and say, right, this is what I want done by the end of the month, say, for instance. And then at the end of the month, you can come back. Not only have you gotten some movement in by doing these projects, but you have also ticked something off your list that'll make you feel good about yourself. Now, obviously, you don't have to stay indoors over the course of the winter, but if you are someone who doesn't like going outdoors, these are very helpful, but another thing as well for keeping your cardio up, or keeping yourself feeling good, is how many of you have like a bike or a treadmill or a cross trainer or whatever in your house that is currently being used as a clothes horse. Well, you don't need to have any fancy programs on it. It could just be like the screen's dead on it, whatever. You don't need anything like that. Put it on, pull it into your sitting room, watch half an hour on the telly, and get on the bike or get on the cross trainer or get on whatever you want or you have in the house, and just move. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to. It's another thing with them. Like, it doesn't have to be these intense workouts. Like, you can get those online stuff. You can follow online workouts from apps. You can make, you can book into classes or online Zoom classes, or, because again, that's your accountability. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube if you ever wanted to watch it. If you have a look at my YouTube, Chrissy H Fitness, you'll find loads of stuff there. But stuff like these, things you can do even while you're watching the telly, and it's just getting that little bit of movement, not getting yourself get stiff, and sit down all day, because it's very easy to get very sedentary, especially this time of year, because when you're cold, you don't really want to move. Like, I find it hard even to drink water when it gets cold, because it makes you colder. So if you have that sitting there and you're ignoring it, just pull it out. Set an alarm on your phone, a reminder on your phone twice a week to do half an hour. And again, it can be any pace, and you don't have to go outside. And you can even put on Corrie if you want, or Love Island, or whatever people are watching these days. I'm not fully certain. I'm very, very behind. But use this equipment you have there. Like, you don't need the gym membership. You don't need the expensive equipment. If you have something sitting there, once obviously it's working, not working, but I mean it's like the screen doesn't need to work, but it needs to be safe to use. Hop on it and just do it for a bit, and you'll just feel all the better for it. And that's the main thing with this, like, is feeling good. And it's a hard time of the year because it's dark and it's cold, and I don't know, some people enjoy it, but I'm not a winter person, so it can be very hard to feel motivated or feel like you want to do anything like this. Like, as someone who owns horses, it's a very hard time of the year because everything's wet and cold, and the horse doesn't want you there and you don't want to be there. But you have to go up because you have to look after the horse. But why don't you do that for yourself? Do you know what I mean? So, like, I'm just saying this from an equestrian point of view. We will do stuff like that for our horse, but we'll never do it for ourselves. And I think people who aren't involved in horses have that too. It's like, you might go, like, out in the car to drop the kids to GA training, because that still goes on all season, or if you're rugby kids or whatever, but you won't do it for yourself. So while you're out dropping them somewhere, where are you going to go for the hour? Don't just go back home. See what you can do instead. Like, even go down to a shopping centre and walk around the shopping centre. Hopefully leave your credit card in the car, but like that, you're indoors again and you can do a good bit of walking around. And these are the little things people don't even think about. It's, getting a bit of extra steps in. That is extra movement. It's not wasted time. Now, obviously, as I said, be careful. You might need to keep your credit card in the car so you don't come back with loads of stuff, but carrying bags as well, that's a farmer's walk, so that's a lot of bit of work as well. Getting out and doing your shopping, stuff like that. These are little things we don't think about. Park your car a little bit further away, which is obviously harder when it's winter, but they are a few little tips for people who want to keep more active in winter, who don't want to get so sedentary and just disappear into hibernation, as tempting as it is. If there's any other suggestions you have, I'd love to hear from you. Please do drop them in a comment here or send me a DM, because I love hearing different ideas that people come up with. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. So if you want to find me, I am most active on my @stronginthesaddle _ Instagram. I'm also on TikTok @stronginthesaddle. And then I also have a second Instagram, which is @ChrissyHFitness. And you'll also find my website, www.chrissyhawkins.com. So I hope you found this helpful and everyone's going to get out and plan how to stay active this winter. I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.